Iphigeneia Aulis by Euripides. Scene: in front of Agamemnon's tent, in the camp of the Greek armies by the bay at Aulis, where the ships are waiting. It is some time before dawn. As the light rises, it will be perceived that the tent has a main entrance flanked by two side doors. Agamemnon enters through the main door, a waxed tablet in his hand. He paces up and down before the tent in great indecision, then turns and calls in at the main door.
Come here, old man, in front of my tent.
I'm coming. Is there something new, King Agamemnon?
Be quick about it.
I am quick. There's no sleep in me. My eyes won't stay shut now they're old.
What star is that? What time crossing heaven?
Sirius, pursuing the seven Pleiades, still traveling high at this hour.
No bird sound, no murmur from the sea. The winds are silent along these straits of Europos.
Then why are you up, pacing outside your tent, King Agamemnon? That is not a voice stirring yet in Aulis. The watch is quiet, up on the walls. Might we not go in?
I envy you, old man. I envy any man whose life passes quietly, unnoticed by fame. I do not envy those in authority.
But it is they who have the good life.
You call that good? It's a trap. Great honors taste sweet, but they come bringing pain. Something goes wrong between a man and the gods, and his whole life is overturned. At other times the notions of men, all different and all insatiable, grate it away by themselves.
I don't like it, hearing a king talk that way. Atreus did not sire you, Agamemnon, into a world of pure happiness. You must expect to suffer as well as rejoice, since you are a man. And the gods will see to you, to that, whether you like it or not. But you've lit your lamp. You've written some message. That's what you have in your hand. You keep putting on the seal and taking it off again. You write, and then you rub it out, what you have written. You dropped it to the ground, and tears streamed down your face. From what I can see, despair appears to be driving you out of your reason, O my king, Agamemnon. Tell me what it is. I'm a man of goodwill. I'm loyal to you, and you can trust me with it. I was in your wedding procession. Don't you remember, back at the start? Tyndareos gave me to you, to your wife, as part of the dowry, because I could be trusted.
Leda, the daughter of Thestios, had 3 girls of her own, Phoebe and my wife Clytemnestra, and Helen, and the highest-born young men in Greece came asking to marry Helen, and threatened each other, looking for blood. Each of them said that if he himself did not get to marry her, he would murder whoever did. So her father Tyndareos could not think what he should do to avoid disaster. Should he give her to one of them, or not let her marry at all? Then he thought of a way. The suitors would have to take an oath, all of them, together, a solemn oath, sealed with a burnt offering, swearing to defend whichever of them should win Helen, Tyndareos' daughter, for his wife. And if anyone should ever carry her off and keep her husband from her, whether he came from Greece or somewhere else, they would all make war on his city and bring it to the ground. So they swore. Old Tyndareos was sharper than they were. When it was over, he left the choice to his daughter. He said, now why shouldn't she marry, as the sweet breath of Aphrodite directs her? And her love fell, that's the pity of it, on Menelaus. It was later that this Paris, who judged the beauty of goddesses, as the Argives tell it, came from Phrygia to Sparta. There were gold flowers stitched onto his clothes. He glittered with barbarian jewels. He loved her. She returned it. While Menelaus was away, he carried her off with him to the summer pastures of Ida. Menelaus, stung by his fate, raged through all Greece, reminding everyone who had sworn that oath that they were bound to come to his help now. And the Greeks rushed to arms, and they have come to the straits of Aulis with their fighting gear, their ships, their shields, their chariots, their horses. And because Menelaus is my brother, they chose me to be their general. I wish they had saved the honor for someone else. And when the whole army had mustered here at Aulis, the wind died. Calm, we still cannot sail. There is only one hope of our going, according to Calchas the prophet. Iphigeneia, my daughter, must be sacrificed to Artemis, the deity of this place. Then the wind will take us to Troy, and the city will fall to us. When I heard this, I called Talthybios the herald and said, sound the trumpet, sound it, and tell them all to go home. I could never make myself kill my own daughter. But at that my brothers started reasoning with me, arguing, urging me to commit this horror, till I wrote a letter telling my wife to send our daughter here to be married to Achilles. I told her what a great man he is, and I said he would not sail with us until a bride from our own family had been sent to his home in Phthia. A story I made up so that my wife would send the girl. Among the Achaeans, the only ones who know are Calchas, Odysseus, and Menelaus. And what I have done is wrong, and I want to undo it. That is why I wrote this second letter that you found me sealing and unsealing. Take it. Go to Argos. I will tell you what it says, since you are loyal to my wife and to my house. Clytemnestra, daughter of Leda, I mean this letter to rule out the first one.
Tell me the rest. Read it. Then I will be able to repeat the message myself as it is in the letter.
Do not send your daughter to this folded harbor of Iphigeneia Aulis, a shore where no waves come in. We will find some other time for her marriage.
But Achilles, when he learns there's no bride for him after all, will he not blaze up, raging against you and your wife? That frightens me. How will you deal with that?
Only his name has been used. Achilles himself knows nothing of our plans. The marriage, what I said about giving him my daughter as his bride.
Then you promised her to the son of a goddess, simply to fetch her here, to be a victim for the Argives? King Agamemnon, your daring appalls me.
I have lost the use of my reason. My ruin is straight ahead of me. No. Go, start. Run, never mind the age in your legs.
I will lose no time, my lord.
Do not pause at the springs in the shade, nor stop to sleep.
The gods keep me from it.
When you get to where roads fork, take a sharp look down all of them. Make sure no chariot slips past you too fast or not noticed, bringing my daughter here to the Greek ships.
It shall be done.
If she has left the palace and you meet her and her escort, make them turn back. Take the reins yourself and shake them loose, and urge on the horses to Mycenae where the Cyclops built the walls.
One thing. What will make your wife and your daughter trust me when I tell them the message?
This seal on the letter. Take it and go now. Day is breaking. Already the sun's chariot of fire has sent brightness into the sky. Go, take up your task. We must all suffer. No mortal ever knows happiness and good fortune all the way to the end. Each one is born with his bitterness waiting for him.
I have crossed the narrows of Euripus. I came sailing and I beached at Aulis on the sands. I left Colchis, my city, where the spring of Erythosa wells up and runs flashing down to the sea. I came to see for myself this army of the Achaeans, the oar-winged ships of the heroes, the 1,000 galleys which blond Menelaus and Agamemnon of the same great lineage sent, as our husbands tell us, to fetch Helen again. Helen, whom Paris the herdsman seized from the reedy bank of the river Eurotas, where Aphrodite had led her for him after the goddess had bathed in the dewy fountain and taken her place beside Hera and Pallas Athena, for her beauty to be judged. Through the grove where the victims die on the altar of Artemis, I came running, and I blushed for shyness at my fever to see the pitched strength of the Danaans, the tents hung with weapons, the clanging press of armed horsemen. Now I set eyes on the two that are named Aias. I see Oilis' son, and that son of Telamon, who is the hope of Salamis, and with them Protesilaus and Palamedes, child of Poseidon's son, hunched down, weaving their cunning into a game of draughts. Near them is Diomedes, delighting in throwing the discus, and Meriones, scion of Ares, wonder of men. Laertes' son has come there from his craggy island, and Nereus, the most handsome of the Achaeans. I have seen wind-footed Achilles in full armor racing over the sands, Thetis' son, whom Chiron reared, and he was racing against horses, 4 of them, and a chariot on the curved track. I saw the beauty of those horses, gold worked into their bits and bridles, the yoke pair dappled gray with white in their manes, the trace horses bays with dappled white fetlocks, and Eumelos, the grandson of Pheres, driving them, shouting, goading them on faster, and they hugged the turns, but Peleus' son in his armor stayed with them the whole way, never falling behind the chariot rail and the axle, and won. And I came to where the ships lie. Even a god would find no words for the way that sight stirs a woman's eyes. Pleasure took my breath away. The fleet of the Myrmidons from Phthia, 50 lean vessels, lay to the right, bearing statues of the sea god's daughters, the Nereids, in gold, high on their sterns, to show that those ships were Achilles. Next to them lay the galleys of the Argives, their admiral Macaestus' son, whom Taleos brought up to manhood, and Sthenelus, Capaneus' son, was there. Then the 60 ships from Attica, the son of Theseus is their commander, and their ensign is Pallas Athena with her winged chariot and its horses, a sign which lightens the hearts of mariners. Then the flotilla of 50 ships from Boeotia, with their ensign rising from each of the sterns. Cadmos, holding a dragon of gold. Laetos, born of the earth, is their admiral. And the same number of ships from Locris, commanded by the son of Aulis, who had come from the famous city of Thronion, to moor beside them. The son of Atreus had brought 100 vessels from Mycenae, where the Cyclops built the walls. The king, his brother, and companion in command, sailed with him to bring vengeance on the bride who had abandoned his house to lie with a barbarian. I saw the ships from Pylos the Gerenian Nestor brought, and their sign is the river Alpheus that flows by his country, shown on his sterns in the form of a bull. Then the 12 Aenean vessels that obey King Gonius, and near them the lords of Elis, who are called Epeans. Eurytos commands the ships that came with them. And the white-oared Taphian galleys followed King Megas, Phyleus' son, from the rocky islands of Iphigeneia that frightened sailors. To the left, the 12 sleek galleys of Aias and Salamis made up the end of the line that ran back down the beach without a break beside the army. The barbarian who joins battle with these should not cling to his hopes of sailing home. I have seen the whole fleet, and when it is famous, they tell of it where I live. I will remember.
Menelaus, you have no right to do this. Get away. You are too loyal to your master. Your approach does me honor. You'll be sorry if you go on meddling. You had no right to open the letter I was carrying. And you had no right to carry a letter that would harm the Greek cause. Argue with others about that. Give me the letter. I will not. Then I won't let go. I'll bloody your head with my scepter. What greater glory than to die for my master? Let go. Your words are too big for a slave. Master, help! This man snatches your letter out of my hand. Agamemnon! Mutiny!
What is this? Brawling and arguing outside my tent door.
My voice takes precedence here, I believe.
How did you come to quarrel with this old man, Menelaus, and why were you so violent with him?
Look at me, Agamemnon. Then I will start to tell you.
Do you think I'm afraid to look you in the eye, Menelaus? I am a son of Atreus.
Do you see this letter? It was meant to betray all of us.
That letter, in the first place, give it back to me.
Not until I have told the Greeks what it says.
You mean you broke the seal, so you know what you have no business knowing?
Yes, I broke the seal. And it's you who will suffer as a result for acting behind our backs.
How did you come to find him? Oh gods, what shamelessness!
I was watching for the arrival of your daughter from Argos.
You see, shameless again. What right have you to spy on what concerns me?
I chose to. I'm not your slave.
This is beyond endurance. Am I not to be allowed to govern in my own house?
No, because you're not to be trusted. You never were. You aren't to be trusted now. You never will be.
How smooth you are with your slanders. I despise a nimble tongue.
How do you feel about a mind true to nothing and no one? It is you who must answer for yourself, and don't try to shout down the truth just because you're angry. I won't be too harsh with you. Have you forgotten the fever of your ambition at the first thought of landing an army against Troy? You pretended not to want the command, but really, you'd paid anything to be general. You know how you humbled yourself at the time, touching hands, keeping open houses to the whole citizenry, making them all speak to you one by one, whether they wanted to or not, anything to entice preferment out of the crowd. But once you'd been chosen to command, all that changed. You dropped the friends you didn't need anymore. It was hard to get to talk to you. You shut yourself in. Is one to admire a man who changes as soon as he gets what he wants and turns from friends the moment he's in a position to help them? That's the first point, in which I found you wanting, Agamemnon. Next, you led the combined armies to the Hellenes here in Aulis. And then, at one stroke, all your importance collapsed, just because the wind fell. You were nothing. If the gods would not fill your sails, and the Danaans clamor for the ships to be sent home, and an end to these senseless efforts. I haven't forgotten the sight of your face when you heard that. What anguish, what gloom at the thought that you might not sail in after all, Lord, of 1,000 ships flooding Priam's beach with arms. Then you asked me to help you. What shall I do? Isn't there something I can do? Anything rather than lose the command and the glory? Then the Calchas said, yes, sacrifice your daughter to Artemis, and the Greek ships will be able to sail. How happy you were to promise. And no one, admit it, forced you to write to your wife and tell her to send the girl here, pretending that she would marry Achilles. Then you changed your mind. You unburden yourself of a different message, and it's discovered. At this point, you'd never murder your daughter. Well, the same sky watched you speak otherwise. It's true. Men find this happening to them all the time. The sweat and clamor for power until it's theirs. Then, all at once, they fall back and amount to nothing again. Sometimes it's the fault of the populace, too stupid to know who's taking sense. Other times it's richly deserved. The leaders turn out to be able to keep the city safe. I grieve above all for Greece and her mortification. She had set her heart on glory. Now she will have nothing to answer when the barbarian trash laugh at her. Thank you and your daughter. Oh, I would never put a man at the head of a country or an army just because of his connections. A general needs to have a mind.
It is terrible when discord divides brothers and they fight each other with words.
It's my turn now, and I'll keep my reproach dignified, brief, restrained, not staring wide shamelessly, but with modesty, remembering that you are my brother. No man who amounts to anything is without a sense of shame. You come to me in a passion, breathing hard, eyes suffused with blood. Tell me, who has wronged you? What do you want? Are you pining for a virtuous wife? I'm afraid I can't do much for you there. The one you had is no credit to your government. Am I then supposed to suffer for your shortcomings when they're no fault of mine? It's not my ambition that is biting you. You care about nothing but holding a beautiful woman in your arms. You abandoned all decency, all sense. The passions of a degraded man are degraded, and if I was mistaken to start with and later was wise enough to change my mind, is that madness? No, you're the one who's mad. The gods, in their kindness, took a bad wife off your hands, and you're trying to get her back. The suitors, it's true, were so misguided as to swear an oath to Tyndareos, while the lust was on them. In my view, some goddess, Hope, I imagine, accomplished that. Not you in any case. Still lead them, by all means, to fight your war for you. They're foolish enough to stick to their oaths, but the gods will not be fooled. They can recognize oaths that were set up as traps and sworn to under duress. I will not kill my children. There's no justice in things turning out precisely the way you want them to. You get your vengeance on a worthless wife. while my days and nights melt in tears at the unholy crimes I've committed against my own children. These are the few things I wanted to say to you once and for all. You should be able to understand them. You can refuse to be sensible if you want to, but for my part, I will set straight my own affairs.
This is not what was said before, but the change is for the better, refusing to harm a child.
Oh, misery. Then I see I have no friends.
When you have friends, you try to destroy them.
Is there no way that you will show that you are my father's son?
I will share your reason, not your madness.
You would dare my troubles? If you were a brother and a friend.
Say that when you have behaved like a brother and a friend to me, not when you are doing me harm.
And Greece? You mean you'll abandon her now, to her struggle?
Greece has been driven mad by the same God who drove you out of your senses.
Congratulate yourself on your scepter now, that you've betrayed your own brother. I'll find some other way, other friends.
Commander of all the armies of Greece, King Agamemnon, I have brought you from home your daughter, whom you called Iphigeneia, and her mother, your Clytemnestra, is with her, and the boy Orestes. You've been away from home a long time, and the sight of them will be a joy to you. It's been a tiring journey, and they are resting now, bathing their soft feet at the flowing spring, and the horses are resting too. We've turned them loose to graze there in the good pasture. I came on ahead to tell you so that you would be ready, but rumor travels faster. The army knows your daughter is here, and they are running and crowding to get a look at the girl. Everyone wants to catch a glimpse of those whom fortune has blessed. They say, is there going to be a wedding, or did King Agamemnon miss the child so much that he sent for her? Others say, offerings are being made, consecrating the child to Artemis, the goddess of Aulis, as though for a wedding. But who will be the bridegroom? Come, do what comes next, Agamemnon. Bring the sacrificial basket and lead the procession around the altar. Set the garlands on your heads. King Menelaus, prepare the marriage feast. Let the flute trill within doors and the floor resound with dancing, for this is the day that dawned to see your child made happy.
Thank you. You may go inside. What is left to do no doubt will turn out well in the course of fate. O miserable creature that I am, now what can I say? Where can I begin in the face of this misery? I have fallen into the snare of fate. I laid my plan, but I was outwitted from the start by the cunning of destiny. How fortunate are the humbly born. They can shed tears when they need to. They can tell all their grief. But those of our station are not allowed to appear undignified. We are the slaves of the mob we lead, molded by the pomp we must show in public. I am ashamed of my tears, but in the presence of this enormity I am not ashamed to weep. And my wife, what words can I find when I see her? How will I greet her? With what eyes will I welcome her? It was terrible enough. Why did she have to come here too when I never sent for her? But it is natural for her to come here with her daughter, to be present, the bride's mother, to give her child in marriage. And that's how she will learn of my treachery. But the unhappy girl. Girl? Why do I call her a girl? When it seems that Hades is about to make her his wife. Oh, I pity her. I can hear her calling out to me, Father, are you going to kill me? I hope that you and everyone you love are married like this. And Orestes will be there too, scarcely old enough to walk. And he will scream cries without words, but my heart will know what they mean. Oh, what ruin Priam's son, Paris, has brought me. All this he called down by winning the love of Helen.
Grief lays hands on me too, though I am a stranger and a woman, and these are a king's troubles.
Brother, give me your hand.
Here's my hand. You have won. I must bear the loss.
I swear by Polyps, whom our father called father, and by Atreus himself, who sired us both, that I will speak to you now openly, as I feel, without any hidden object in mind, but speak from the heart. When I saw the tears running from your face, I felt tears of my own, and pity. I will not set myself against you any longer. I call back what I said before. I am with you now, and I add my voice to yours. Do not kill your child, not for my sake. It cannot be just for you to suffer, so that I can be satisfied, nor for your children to die, while mine fill their eyes with delight. What do I need after all? Could I not find a wife who would do me credit if I chose to marry again? Am I to lose a brother whom I should treasure merely to win back Helen? Buying evil with good? I was rash. I behaved like a child until I came close to the thing itself and saw what it means to kill one's own child. Then pity overcame me for the girl from my own family who was going to lose her life because of my marriage. What has your daughter to do with Helen? Let the army break up and leave Aulis. Brother, no more tears now. Yours are the cause of mine. Whatever the oracle says of your daughter, from now on it concerns you, not me. I give you my share in it. You can see how long my threats lasted. I admit I changed my mind, but that's natural if a man loves his brother. At every step I've tried to see the right way to act. That's not the vacillation of a weakling.
Your words are noble. They are worthy of your ancestors. Tantalus himself, the son of Zeus, might well have been proud of them.
Menelaus, thank you. I never could have hoped that you would speak as you have spoken now. But what you have said is right and worthy of you. Discord flares up between brothers over love or the family estate. It is poisonous to both sides. I hate it. But I've reached a point where circumstances leave me no choice. I shall be forced to shed her blood to kill my daughter.
Forced? Who can make you kill the girl?
The combined armies of the Achaeans.
Not if you send her home to Argos.
I might be able to do that without anyone knowing. But afterwards...
What? You're wrong to go to such dread of a mob.
Calchas will tell the whole army what was prophesied.
Not if he's dead. And that's a simple matter.
The tribe of prophets wants only to be important. The whole rotten crowd of them.
When they don't prophesy, they're useless. And when they do, it does no good.
But aren't you afraid of something? Something I've just remembered.
Not unless you tell me what it is.
Someone else knows everything. The son of Sisyphus, Odysseus.
There's no reason for Odysseus to do anything to injure you or me.
He's cunning, and it always turns out that he and the crowd are on the same side.
He loves power, a terrible love.
Can't you see him rising to his feet in the middle of the Argives and repeating the oracles that Calchas spelled out to us, telling how I promised the sacrifice to Artemis and then failed to keep my promise? Can't you see his words sweeping the whole army along with him when he tells them to kill you, kill me, and then sacrifice the girl themselves? Even if I could escape to Argos, they would follow me there. They'd tear the city to the ground, even the great walls that the Cyclops built. You see why I am in despair. Almighty gods, how helpless you have made me now. There's nothing I can do. But you, Menelaus, when you go back to the camp, save me from one thing at least. Take care that Clytemnestra learns nothing of all this until I take my child and give her to Hades. Let me suffer my ordeal with as few tears as possible. And you, women of Calchas, you will do well to say nothing.
Blessed are they who share the delights of Aphrodite and are not burned alive by them, moderate and happy, whom the passion has not stung into madness, at whom the archer with the golden hair, Eros, has not aimed desire in his 2 arrows, the one striking rapture, the other devastation. O Cyprian, most beautiful of the goddesses, keep such wild flights from me. Let me know love within reason, and desire within marriage, and feel your presence, not your rage. The natures of humans are various, and human ways of acting are different, but everyone knows what is right, and teaching inclines them at last to virtue. Humility is wisdom, making us see the right way as something beautiful, and from this beauty honor is born, and life earns immortal fame. It is a great thing, the pursuit of virtue. In women, it is a stillness in their love. Among men, multiplied 10,000 times among citizens, it makes a city great. O Paris, they took you as a baby to grow up herding white heifers on Mount Ida, making on reeds a barbarous music, a thin echo of the Phrygian pipes of Olympus. The milk-laden cattle never stopped grazing when the goddesses stood forth for you to judge their beauty. You chose madness. Madness brought you here to Greece, to the palace inlaid with ivory and to the eyes of Helen, that took your gaze full of love and returned it. And from that rose the dispute that sends the armed Greeks in their ships to sack Troy.
Oh, great is the fortune of the great. See, the king's daughter, Iphigeneia, my queen, and Tyndareus' daughter, Clytemnestra. How great were their ancestors! How momentous the occasion that brings them here! Those who excel in power and in wealth are gods, in the eyes of mortals less favored by fortune.
Let us stand here, women of Chalcis, and hand the queen down from her chariot. Make sure she does not stumble. Gently, carefully, help with our hands. Let us help Agamemnon's noble child to descend unafraid for her first steps in Aulis. We too are strangers here. Gently, quietly, we welcome the strangers from Argos. I think your kind greeting is a good omen. I have come here bringing this girl as I hope to a happy marriage. Take from the chariot the gifts I brought with her, her dowry. Carry them in and set them down carefully. Daughter, come from the chariot, alight on your delicate feet. And you, young women, give her your arms, help her down. Someone do the same for me as I step from the chariot. Someone stand in front of the horse's yoke. A colt's eye takes fright if there is no one to reassure it. This is Agamemnon's son, the baby Orestes. Take him. Are you still asleep, my child, lulled by the rocking of the chariot? When you wake, wake happily. This is your sister's wedding day. You had noble forebears. You will have a noble kinsman, the sea nymph's son, who is like his ancestors, the gods. Sit here by my feet, child. Iphigenia, come to your mother. Stand close and show these strangers what reason I have to be happy. Now here comes your dear father. Greet him. Mother, don't be angry if I run from you to be the first to embrace him. O most revered in my eyes, Agamemnon, king, you command us to come, and we are here. I want to run and put my arms around you, father, after such a long time. How I have missed your face. Don't be angry. It's as it should be, child. You were always, of all the children I bore him, the one who loved your father most. Father, how happy I am to see you. It has been so long.
And I am happy to see you, Iphigeneia. The same words rise to my lips.
Oh, if you could be as happy as I am. Father, what a wonderful thing to have brought me here to you.
Perhaps, my child, perhaps.
How troubled your eyes look, yet you say you are happy to see me.
A king and a general has many burdens.
Forget them. Forget them for now. I'm here. Put them aside and be with me.
I am with you. I am nowhere else.
Then don't frown any more. I want those lines to leave your face.
See, how happy I am to look at you.
But your eyes are overflowing with tears.
We will be separated for so long.
I don't understand what you mean. Dear Father, I don't understand.
If you understood, I would feel even worse.
Then we'll talk, and I won't understand, if that will make you happier.
Oh, I can't contain my suffering. Thank you.
Stay home, Father. Stay with your children.
I want to, but I can't do what I want to, and it makes me unhappy.
I wish there were no more spears, no more of this grievance that's come to Menelaus.
Before they are done, they will destroy others as they have me.
Father, how long you've been shut away in Aulis.
And even now something prevents me from sending the army on its way.
Where do they say the Trojans live, Father?
In the country where Priam has a son named Paris, who I wish had never been born.
You are going all that way, Father, leaving me behind.
Now you see what you did not understand before.
Oh, if only it were proper for me to go with you.
You will think of your father on your own long voyage.
Will my mother come with me, or will I be alone?
Neither father nor mother. Alone.
You won't make me live somewhere else, will you, Father?
I've said enough. Too much. Girls are not meant to know about such things.
When you have finished what you have to do at Troy, Father, sail straight home to me.
Before that, I must make a sacrifice, here in Aulis.
Sacrifices are to find out how we may please the gods.
You will see. You will stand by the font of purifying water.
Will we dance around the altar?
How I envy you, knowing nothing. Now go in. It's better for young girls not to be seen. Give me a kiss on your right hand. You will soon be far away from your father, and for a long time. O breast, cheeks, O blonde head, what a crushing weight Helen and the Trojan city have called down upon you. I must not touch you any more. It sets the tears flowing. Go in. Daughter of Leda, forgive me for this access of grief at giving my child in marriage to Achilles. Partings such as these are happy, of course, but when a father must send his daughter to the house of another after all his years of watching over her, it cuts to the heart.
I feel it too. I'm not so foolish as to reproach you for grieving. I will feel just the same, you know, when I lead the child out into the marriage hymns, so I don't blame you. But time will heal the sadness. It's the custom, and we will get used to it. Tell me about his ancestors and where he was born. All I know is his name.
To Aesopus, a daughter was born named Aegina.
Who married her, a mortal, a god?
Zeus himself, and she bore him a son, Icos, king of the island of Oenone.
And which of his children succeeded him?
Peleus, he married one of the daughters of Nereus, the sea god.
With her father's blessings, or did Peleus take her in defiance of the gods?
Zeus made the betrothal and gave her in marriage. He has the authority.
Where were they married? Under the waves of the ocean?
At the foot of Pelion, the sacred mountain where Chiron lives.
In the country where they say the centaurs live.
There all the gods come to the marriage of Peleus and the wedding feast.
And it was Thetis, or his father Peleus, who brought Achilles up.
It was Chiron to keep him from learning the evil ways of men.
Wise teacher, and Peleus was wiser still, sending the boy to him.
Such is the man who will be your daughter's husband.
He sounds acceptable. Where in Greece is he from?
From Phthia on the river Apidanos.
And that is where he will take our daughter?
That is for him to decide.
May it be a happy marriage. When will it take place?
At the full moon. That is the most propitious time.
Have you made our daughter's sacrifice to the goddess?
I will. We had just come to that.
And afterwards you will have the marriage feast.
When I have offered the gods the sacrifice they require of me.
And where shall I prepare the women's banquet?
Here, by the high sterns of the ships from Argos.
Here? Well, there is no choice. I hope good fortune comes of it.
Do you know what you should do? Please do it.
What do you want? You know I'm not in the habit of disobeying you.
Then here, in the presence of the bridegroom, we men will...
You? Will I not be there for the things a bride's mother must do?
I will give away your child, the army and I.
And where will I be when that happens?
In Argos, taking care of your daughters.
Leaving my child here, and who will raise the bridal torch?
I will provide the light, all the light proper for the bridal pair.
That is wrong. Wrong. All such things are important.
It is not right for you to stay here, jostling among the soldiers.
It is right that I should give my children in marriage. I'm their mother.
It is not right for our daughters at home to be left alone.
They are well looked after, safe in their part of the palace.
Please do it.
No, by the goddess who reigns in Argos, you see to the things outside that concern you. I'll go in and see to the preparations for my daughter's wedding.
Oh, it was no use. I tried, but I failed to send my wife out of my sight. I contrive plots, I lay plans to deceive those dearest to me, and it all comes to nothing. Now I must arrange with Calchas, who performs our sacrifices, the thing which the goddess demands, and I hate the thought of. I owe it to Greece. A wise man supports in his house a good and faithful wife, or no wife at all.
Now they will sail to Simois, where the waters spin silver, to the Greeks in pride of numbers, of ships, of weapons. They will come to Ilion, to the plains below Troy, shining in the blessing of Apollo, where Cassandra, they say, flings like sunlight the blonde falls of her hair from under the green laurel when the god grips her and she shakes and sees what is to come. At Troy on the ramparts, on the circling walls drawn up, the Trojans will be waiting as Ares in his bronze battle gear comes nearer with the falling oars, the hanging prows riffling the estuary mouths of Simois. What he will want is Helen, the sister of the twin sons of Zeus, the Dioscuri, who are stars in heaven, to possess her again out of Priam's kingdom, the prize of the Achaeans' spears, shields, labors in battle, and bring her once more into Greece. The god will girdle with slaughter the stone-cased stronghold of Pergamos, the Phrygians' city. He will see Priam's head hewn from its shoulders, and every house in Troy smashed and rummaged. Then would a crying from the girls and from Priam's queen. And Helen herself, the daughter of Zeus, will taste tears for the day she left her husband. Oh, may such anguish never befall us, women of Calchas, nor our children's children, as as shall then work through the Lydian women for all their gold, and through the wives of Phrygia, so that they stand by the looms, saying, Who now will wrap his wrist in my swaying hair and uproot me out of my ruined home, dragging me through my tears? It is all thanks to you, daughter of the swan with the sinuous neck, whose wings hid Zeus from Leda, if that is true. It is still you, even if that is no more than a story out of the books of the Muses with no meaning.
Where is the commander of the Achaeans? Will one of his servants tell him that Peleus' son Achilles is standing at his door? It is not the same for all of us having to wait here by the straits. Some of us who have no wives sit here by the shore, having left empty houses at home. Others who are married still have no children. Such is the frenzy that has seized Greece for this war, not without the consent of the gods. With things at this pass, let me say what is due to me. Anyone else who wants to may speak in his own behalf. I came away from Pharsalia. I left Peleus to be kept waiting for a wind beside the straits, trying to keep my men quiet, my Myrmidons. Day after day they come up to me and say, Achilles, what is keeping us here? How much more time must we waste on this expedition to Troy? Do what you came to do, or else lead the army home. Don't wait for the sons of Atreus.
Son of the Nereid, I heard your voice and came out to greet you.
O sacred modesty, who is this beautiful woman?
You could hardly expect to recognize me since you never saw me before, but your regard for modesty is commendable.
Who are you, and why have you come to the camp of the Greek army, you a woman here among the shields?
I am the daughter of Leda, Clytemnestra. Agamemnon is my husband.
Brief and to the point, but it is not seemly for me to be seen talking with women.
Wait, why do you run away? Give me your right hand, here is mine. A happy beginning to this betrothal of ours.
Do you know what you are saying? Touch your hand? How could I face Agamemnon if I touch what heaven forbids me to touch?
Why do you say heaven forbids it, son of Thetis the sea nymph, when you are about to marry my daughter?
Marry? Lady, what do you mean? I am left with no answer. Has some delusion led your mind astray?
I know it is natural for men to be shy, faced with new kin in the talk of marriage.
Lady, I have never courted your daughter, and the sons of Atreus have not spoken one word to me about marriage.
What does this mean? Indeed, my words must be as shocking to you as your words are shocking to me.
We must both find the explanation. There must be some truth under what we both said.
I have been deceived. It seems I have been preparing a marriage that exists only in my mind. I am filled with shame.
Perhaps someone is amusing himself with both of us. Ignore it. It doesn't matter.
I will take my leave. I am humiliated. I have been made to lie. I can no longer look you in the face.
Lady, goodbye. I shall go in to see your husband.
Wait, stranger, grandson of Iacchos, son of the goddess. You, I'm calling, and you, daughter of Leda.
Who is that shouting through the doorway? How shaken he sounds.
I am a slave. That's the truth. Why not say it? Fate has given me no choice.
Whose slave? Not mine, certainly, here among Agamemnon's possessions.
That lady's, in front of the tent. I was given to her by Tyndareus, her father.
Well, here I am. Why did you want me to stay?
Is there no one else here besides you and her?
We are alone. Come out from the king's tent. Speak.
What I most feared has come to pass. O destiny, spare those I pray for.
Your words sound ominous, and the message, it seems, is important.
Don't wait to kiss my hand. What do you want to tell me?
You know me, lady. You know my devotion to you and to your children.
I know you've been a servant in the palace for a long time.
I came to King Agamemnon as part of your dowry.
Yes, you came with us to Argos, and you've always belonged to me.
I have, and I put your interests ahead of your husband's.
Now tell us, what's your secret?
Your daughter. Her father is going to kill her with his own hand.
What? I spit against what you say, old man. You're out of your senses.
He will plunge a blade into her white throat.
Torment, has he gone mad?
No, he is sane about everything except you and your child. There, he's lost his reason.
Why? What demon could prompt him to do such a thing?
The oracle, according to Calchas, saying that he must before the fleet can sail.
What horror is coming to me, and the child whose father will kill her? Sail where?
To the country of Dardanos, for Menelaus, to bring back Helen.
So the fates have woven Iphigenia's death into Helen's homecoming.
Now you know it all. He intends to sacrifice your daughter to Artemis.
And the talk of marriage which brought me here.
The king knew you would bring her, and gladly to marry Achilles.
Oh, daughter, you have come here to your death, and your mother with you.
The child's fate is terrible, so is yours. It is a monstrous decision, Agamemnon's.
I am helpless. I'm lost. Whatever I do, the tears come.
If losing a child is painful, you have reason for tears.
But where did you learn all this, old man? How did it come to your ears?
I was sent to you with a second letter about the first one.
Telling me again to bring the girl here to die, or warning me not to?
Warning you not to. At that moment your husband was in his right mind.
If you had such a letter for me, why was it not delivered?
Menelaus took it from me. All your troubles come from him.
Son of Thetis and Peleus, have you heard this?
I've heard the cause of your grief, and I do not take it lightly, the way I've been involved in the matter.
They're going to kill my child. They tricked her with this talk of marrying you.
I too blame Agamemnon, and not only for the reasons you speak of.
Son of a goddess, I am mortal. I'm not ashamed to clasp your knees. What good would pride do me now? What matters more to me than my daughter's life? Son of a goddess, save us, me and my wretchedness, and Iphigeneia, who they said was your betrothed, even if it was not true. I myself put the bridal wreath on her head for you. I brought her here to be married, and now I am leading her to her death. You will be blamed if you do nothing to defend her. Even though you were never married to her, you were called her husband. I implore you, by your beard, by your right hand, by your own mother, your name, Achilles, destroyed me. Now you must clear it. There is no altar where I can take refuge. None except your knees. No friend smiles on me here. You have heard of Agamemnon's raw heartlessness. Nothing is sacred to him. And I am a woman, come into a camp of sailors, hard to control and ripe for any crime, though they can be useful enough when they want to be. If you can bring yourself to stretch out your hand over me, we are saved. If not, we are lost.
Giving birth is a mystery. It casts a powerful spell over mothers. All of them, without exception, will risk any suffering for the sake of one of their children.
Pride rises up in me and draws me on, but I've learned to curb my grief in adversity and my joy in triumph. Mortals who have learned this can hope to live by reason. There are moments when it is good not to be too wise, but there are times, too, when taking thought is useful. I was brought up in the house of Chiron, the most righteous of men, and he taught me to act from a simple heart. If the commands of the sons of Atreus are just, I will obey them. If not, I will refuse. But whether here or in Troy, I will remain free, and in my fighting will bring credit on the war god with my whole strength. As for you, you have been treated cruelly by those closest to you, and as far as is proper for me, I shall extend my pity to cover you. Never shall your daughter, who has been called my betrothed, be slaughtered by her father. He shall not use me in his manipulations. That way my name would be her butcher, as surely as if it had drawn the sword. Your husband is the cause of this, but my own body would be defiled if through me that girl were to die. Horribly, brutally used as she has been. It fills me with rage to think how she has been treated. I would be the lowest of the Argives, a nothing, and Menelaus a hero. I would be no son of Peleus, but some demon's offspring if I let my name do your husband's killing for him. I swear by Nereus, whom the caves cradled, father of Thetis who gave me birth, King Agamemnon shall not touch your daughter, nor so much as graze her gown with his fingertips, or that barbarous settlement in Lydia, Sipylos, where his sires first saw the light, is a Grecian city. And no one has heard of Phthia. This Calchas, their prophet, will find a bitter taste in the barley and the lustral water before that sacrifice. What is a prophet? Someone who utters one truth in a flock of lies, if he's lucky, and if he's not, everybody forgets. I'm not saying this to earn a bride. There are thousands I could marry, but I will not suffer this insult from King Agamemnon. He should have asked my permission if he wanted to use me to lure the girl here into a snare, since it was to see her married to me that Clytemnestra would have brought her most willingly. I would have lent the use of my name to the Greeks, so that the ships could sail to Ilion. I am here with the others. It is the same war. I would not have refused to help. But I have been treated by these commanders as though I were nobody. They accord me their honor, or they ignore me as they please. My sword may decide that. Blood will color it before we sail to Phrygia. If anyone thinks to take your daughter from me, be calm. In your time of danger, suddenly I appear to you as if I were some great god. I am not, but to save the girl, I will be.
Son of Peleus, what you do, what you have said is worthy of you, worthy of the proud sea goddess and her son.
How can I find the right praise, neither cloying with flattery, nor so meagre that it offends you? Men of worth have a way of hating those who praise them too much. I am ashamed to enlarge on my sufferings. They are mine. They do not concern you. Still, even if their afflictions are not his, a good man may help those in trouble. Take pity on us. Our plight deserves it. First I thought you would be my son, an empty hope, as I learned. Now my child is threatened with death. A bad augury from your marriage one day, unless you take steps to protect yourself. But why do I urge you? From beginning to end, you have spoken nobly. My child will be saved if you can save her. Would it please you if she came and embraced your knees as a suppliant? True, it is not seemly for a girl to do so, but if you wished, she would come with dignity and eyes cast down. And yet, if my supplications alone can move you, I would rather she were not called. She is over-timid, perhaps, but all forms of modesty are worth respecting.
Do not bring your daughter here for me to see. Why should we incur the comments of the ignorant? An army crowded together, loose from work at home, will gossip and spread foul stories. Whether you supplicate me or not, you come to the same end. For me, the one thing of importance is to save you from disaster, and this you may count on. I never lie. May I die if I deceive you, and live only if she does.
May you be blessed all your days for helping those who are unhappy.
We must lay plans. Listen.
Go on, I need no urging to listen to you.
Let us try to make her father see reason.
He is too cowardly. He is afraid of the army.
Arguments can beat down arguments.
A cold hope. But what do you want me to do?
First, plead with him not to kill his daughter. If he refuses you, then you can come to me. But you may persuade him by yourself. Then there would be no need for my help. You are safe in any case, and there would be no breach then in my friendship with Agamemnon, no cause for the army to reproach me, no weapon used to bring it about, only reason. So it would turn out well for you and those dear to you, and I would not be forced to act.
How wise you are. I will do as you say, but suppose something goes wrong. Where and how will I see you again? Shall I come in my misery searching for your hand to rescue us?
I will be watching in the right place. You will not have to be stared at, hunting through the troops to find me. Do nothing that would disgrace your fathers. Tyndareus should not suffer shame. He was a great man in Greece.
You are right. Lead me. I ask only to be your slave. If there are gods, the gods will reward your goodness. If there are none, what does anything matter? Oh, what a sound of Libyan flutes, of lyres leading the dance, of reeling reeds raised the marriage hymn on Pelion, when the Muses came robed in their bright hair to the banquet with the gods, and their gold sandals stamped the ground on the way to the marriage of Peleus, and their voices carried over the centaur's slopes, and through the woods of Pelion praise of Thetis and Icos' son. There Dardanus' child, Trojan Ganymede, the darling of Zeus, poured mixed wine from the deep bowls of gold, and in celebration of the 50 daughters of Nereus, turned their braided dance on the white sand of the shore. And the centaurs came riding with pine spears and crowned with leaves to the feast of the gods, and the bowl that Bacchus filled. And they cried, Daughter of Nereus, great is the son you will bear, a light and a splendor to Thessaly, as Chiron, who knows the oracles of Apollo, foretells, saying that your child will sail with an army of Myrmidons and their spears, to the land of Troy to burn King Priam's glorious city, his limbs traced in gold armor wrought for him by the god Hephaestus, the gift of his mother Thetis, the sea goddess. So the gods celebrated the marriage of Peleus and the firstborn of the Nereids. But you, Iphigeneia, on your lovely hair the Argives will set a wreath, as on the brows of a spotted heifer, led down from the caves in the mountains to the sacrifice, and the knife will open the throat and let the blood of a girl. And you were not brought up to the sound of the shepherd's pipe and the cries of the herdsman, but nurtured by your mother to be a bride for one of great Anachus' sons. Oh, where is the noble face of modesty or the strength of virtue, now that blasphemy is in power and men have put justice behind them? and there is no law but lawlessness, and none join in the fear of the gods. I have come looking for my husband. He has been away from here for some time. My daughter, poor child, has learned of the death of her father's plans for her. One minute she is shaken with sobbing, and the next the tears flow almost in silence. But it was Agamemnon I named. Here he is. He will soon stand convicted of planning a crime against his own child.
Daughter of Leda, I am glad that we meet out here, for I must speak to you now of things that a bride should not hear.
It's a good moment for that.
Call the child out to her father. The libations are ready, and the barley grains ready to be thrown into the purifying flame, and the calves that must loose to Artemis their dark blood to bless the marriage.
You find innocent words to describe it, but there are no words for what you have decided. Come, child, you know what your father means to do. Wrap the baby Orestes in your robe and bring him with you. Here she is, obedient to your command. For the rest I will answer for us both.
Why are you crying, child? Aren't you still happy to see me? Why are you holding your robe in front of your eyes with your face turned to the ground?
I cannot think where to start my bitter story, for its beginning is grief, its middle is grief, its end is grief.
What is it? Why are all three of you afraid to look at me?
My husband, find the honesty of a man and answer me with it.
There is no need for you to speak that way. Ask me your question.
Do you intend to kill your daughter?
What a horrible thing to ask. What a vile suspicion.
Simply answer the question.
Any reasonable question I would answer.
This question, this is the only one I care about.
O immovable law of heaven. Oh, my anguish, my relentless fate.
Yours? Mine. Hers. No relenting for any of us.
How have you been wronged?
How can you ask? What a question for a man of sense.
I'm lost. Someone has betrayed me.
I know the whole story. I have found out what you mean to do to me. Your silence itself is a confession. So is your sighing. No need to waste words.
Then I will say nothing. What good would it do to lie, and add shamelessness to my troubles?
Listen to me, then. I will use plain words and not talk in riddles. In the first place, you took me by force. You married me against my will. You killed the husband I had, Tantalus. You ripped from my breast my baby still living. You smashed it on the ground. Then, when my brothers, the sons of Zeus, on their shining horses bore down on you, bringing war, you came on your knees to my old father Tyndareus, and he saved you. So you got me for your wife again. I came to love you. Admit that as your wife I have deserved no reproach. My demands in love have been modest. I have done what I could to increase your house so that you would be glad to come home, and you went out proud and at peace. It is not often that a man acquires a good wife. There is no end of the other kind. And I bore you this son and 3 daughters, and now you have the cruelty to take one of these from me. And if anyone asks you why you intend to kill her, what will you say? Shall I answer for you, so that Menelaus can have Helen back? Strange bargain. You'll pay your child's life as the price of a worthless woman. We'll buy back our own harm with what is most dear to us. Now I want you to think of this. You'll sail to the war, and I'll be left in the house. You may be gone for years. There I'll be, and with what heart do you imagine I will pass my days in those halls, finding all her places empty, her girl's room empty of her forever, and finding myself alone with nothing but my tears and the endless grieving at her fate? My child, it was your own father who killed you, no one else. That was his hand, no one else's. That was his reward for love, and after that he will come home again. Then almost any occasion would serve for my other children and me to give you the welcome you will have earned. In the name of the gods, don't force me to turn against you. Don't wrong me yourself. As you kill your child, what prayers will you be saying? What blessing can you ask as you have cut her throat? A bad voyage home, since your setting out was the consequence of a crime? An injustice. Could I give you my blessing? We would have to think the gods had no minds to pray for murderers. And when you come back to Argos, will you kiss your children? It will be forbidden by the gods. And which of the children will dare to even look at you? They will be afraid that you will kiss them only to kill them. Did any of that ever cross your mind? Or do you think of nothing but waving scepters and leading armies? Would it not have been fair to say to the Achaeans, men of Argos, you want to set sail to Troy? Draw lots, let us see whose daughter will die. That way, would have been just, it would have had its justice. There is none in your offering up your daughter as a victim for the army, or let Menelaus, to whom it matters most, after all, cut his own daughter's throat, Hermione's, for the sake of her mother. But it is my own child who is to be torn from me when I have been faithful to you, while she who dishonored her husband's bed will find her daughter safe at home in Sparta and be happy. Now answer me, tell me, if one thing I've said is not true. But if there is justice and truth in what I say, do not kill your daughter and mine. Turn back. Be wise.
Do as she asks, Agamemnon. It is good when people help each other to save children. Who can deny that?
If I had the tongue of Orpheus, father, whose song could charm stones so that they followed after him, if my words could persuade whoever I wished to whatever I wished, I would use all my arts now. But all that I know how to do at this moment is cry. I offer you my tears. I press against your knees like a suppliant's torn branch, my body which my mother bore you. Do not send me into death before my time. It is sweet to see the light. Do not make me look at what is under the earth. I was the first who called you father, the first who called you your child, the first to climb on your knees, and we held each other. We loved each other. You said, "Will I see you living in your husband's house, enjoying the happiness that is my daughter's right?" And I answered, touching your beard as I do now, but now as the gesture of a suppliant. "And what will I do for you then, father? When you are old, will you come to live with me and let me nurse you your age in return for what you have done for me? I remember what we said, but you have forgotten. And now you want to kill me. Oh, in the name of Pelops, of your father Atreus, of my mother suffering here, again as at my birth, do not let it happen. What have I to do with Paris and Helen? And what have they done? Why should Paris coming to Argos mean that I must die? Look at me in my eyes, kiss me, so that at least I may remember that when I am dying, if you will not listen to what I say. My brother, you are so small to have to help your friends. But cry with me, cry to your father, beg him not to kill your sister. See, even babies sense the dread of evil to come. Even without being able to speak, he cries to you, begging, take pity on me, respect your daughter's life. Both of us, your own blood, touch your beard, imploring you, a baby, a grown girl, in 3 words I can say it all. The sweetest thing we ever see is this daylight. Under the ground there's nothing. Only the mad choose to be dead. The meanest life is better than the most glorious death.
O reckless Helen, now from you and your marriage a deadly struggle begins between the sons of Atreus and their children.
I know when pity is due, and when it is not. I love my children, only the mad do not. Wife, it is terrible to me to bring myself to do this, and terrible if I do not, for I am forced to do it. Look, how many ships, the war fleet, assembled here, the proud men of Greece, and their bronze battle gear, and they cannot sail to the towers of Ilion and seize the famous citadel Troy, according to Calchas the prophet, unless I sacrifice you. Some strange Aphrodite has crazed the whole Greek army with a passion to sail at once to the barbarians' own country and end this piracy of Greek marriage. If I disobey the goddess, if I ignore the oracle, then the army will sail to Argos. They will kill you and me and your sisters who are still at home. I have not become Menelaus' creature. I am not guided by him. It is Greece that compels me to sacrifice you, whatever I wish. We are in stronger hands than our own. Greece must be free if you and I can make her so. Being Greeks, we must not be subject to barbarians. We must not let them carry off our wives.
O strangers, O my daughter, now I see your death. Your father is running away from you after giving you up to Hades. O mother, how can I bear it? The same lamenting song falls to us both, our fate. I must say goodbye to the light. I will not see the sun any more. O unlucky valley of Phrygia, filled with sorrow or snow, on the high slopes of Ida, where Priam once left a baby torn from its mother to die, Paris, his own child, known in time as the son of Ida, Paris of Ida among the Phrygians. If only the herdmen have not brought him up under the flocks, not reared him, Paris Alexander, to watch his flock by the clear springs where the nymphs rise, and the rich pastures starred with roses and hyacinths for the goddess to gather. It was there that Pallas came, and seductive Cypris and Hera, and with them Hermes, the god's messenger. Cypris, proud of the desires she wakens, Pallas, proud of her spear, Hera, proud of the bed of Zeus, came for the fatal judgment, vying in beauty, whose issue is my death. O my friends, whatever glory it brings to the Argives, for I am to be the first sacrifice to Artemis for the passage to Ilion. And he who begot me has betrayed me and left me, and I curse in my despair. I curse the day that I ever saw you, Helen, for I am to be murdered. I am to fail to my ungodly father's ungodly knife. Oh, if only Aulis had never opened her folded bay to the bronze-beaked galleys, the fur keels that will ferry them to Troy, or the breath of Zeus that had not blown fair up the current of Euripus. Sweetly he blows on this man's sails and on that man's, making those men happy. To others he brings bad luck, bitter compulsion. Some can set out on voyages, and some can make port. Others just wait. Truly we are creatures of labor and suffering, and nothing for long, labor and suffering, and the plain sight of our destiny is the cruelest thing of all.
O daughter of Tyndareos, what anguish, what bitter sorrow you have called down on Greece. I pity you. You do not deserve your fate.
Mother, mother, I see men coming. Achilles too, child, the son of the goddess, in whose name you were brought here. Women, open the doors so that I can hide. Why, child? I would be ashamed to see him. Why? I am ashamed of my unlucky marriage. There is no time now for delicacy. Stay here, do not be shy. We must do what we can.
Unhappy daughter of Leda.
Unhappy is what I am.
The Argives are shouting. They want a terrible thing.
What are they shouting?
About your daughter.
Your words have an unhappy beginning.
They say she must be sacrificed.
And will no one speak against them?
They shouted about me too.
What did they say?
Stone him to death.
For trying to save my daughter?
For that.
Who would have dared to raise a hand against you?
Every Greek there.
But your own army of Myrmidons, surely they took your side.
They were the first to threaten me.
Oh, my child, we are lost.
They said I was foolish about this marriage.
What did you answer?
That they were not to kill my bride.
Good.
Whom her father had promised to me.
And brought here from Argos.
Their voices drowned me out.
The mob, an infernal thing.
But I will defend you.
You alone against the whole army?
See, these men are carrying my armor.
May heaven reward your courage.
Heaven will.
And my daughter will not be sacrificed.
Not if I can stop it.
Will they come here to take the girl?
Thousands of them, led by Odysseus.
The son of Sisyphus?
That one.
Did he offer to do it, or did the army choose him?
They chose him, but the choice pleased him.
A vile choice to be the accomplice in a murder.
I will stop him.
Is he going to drag her away against her will?
By her blonde hair.
And what should I do then?
Hold on to her.
You mean that will stop them from killing her?
That is what it will come to.
Mother, both of you, listen to me. I see now that you are wrong to be angry with your husband. It is hard to hold out against the inevitable. The stranger deserves to be thanked for being willing to help us, but on no account must we let the army be stirred up against him. It would not help us, and he might come to harm. Now, Mother, listen to the conclusion that I have reached. I have made up my mind to die. I want to come to it with glory. I want to have thrown off all weak and base thoughts. Mother, look at it with my eyes, and see how right I am. All the people, all the strength of Greece have turned to me. All those ships, whether they sail, whether Troy falls, depend on me. I will be the one to protect our women in the future if ever the barbarians dare to come near. When they have paid for the ruin of Helen, whom Paris carried away, they will never again be so bold as to ravish well-born wives out of Greece. All these good things I can win by dying. Because of me, Greece will be free, and my name will be blessed there. I must not cling to life too dearly. You brought me into the world for the sake of everyone in my country, not just for your own. Thousands of men have slung shield on shoulder. Thousands have taken hold of the oars when they saw their country wronged, and each of them will strike, and if need be, die for Greece. And shall my one life stand in the way of it all? What justice would there be in that? What answer could I make to those who are ready to die? There is another thing. It would not be right for this man to join battle with the whole of the army and die for the sake of a woman. If it means that one man can see the sunlight, what are the lives of thousands of women in the balance? And if Artemis demands the offering of my body, I am immortal. Who am I to oppose the goddess? It is not to be considered. I will give my life to Greece. Take me, kill me, and bring me down to Troy. That will be my monument for ages to come. That will be my wedding, my children, the meaning of my life. Mother, it is the Greeks who must rule the barbarians, not the barbarians the Greeks. They are born to be slaves, we to be free.
Young woman, what you have said is noble. It is the role of destiny in this, and the role of the goddess, that are sick.
Daughter of Agamemnon, if I could win you for my wife, it would prove that some god wanted to make me happy. I envy Greece because you are hers, and you because she is yours. What you have said is beautiful and worthy of your country. You are no match for the gods, and you have given up the struggle against them. You have reconciled what should be with what must be. But as for me, the more clearly I see your spirit, the more I long to have so noble a woman for my bride. Look, I want to save you, to take you home with me. I call Thetis my mother to witness. Now more than anything, it would grieve me not to pit myself against all the Danaans and save you. Think, death is awesome, something terrible.
I say what I am about to say with no regard for anyone. Tyndareos' daughter Helen will bring on enough fighting, enough death for the sake of her body. As for you, stranger, do not die for me, and do not kill. Let me save Greece, if this is what I can do.
Oh, noble spirit! After that, what is there for me to say? You have chosen. A splendor in your soul has led you. Why should a man not say it? But later you may think differently. I want you to know how I keep my word. I will have these arms lying by the altar, ready not to join in your death, but to prevent it. But even when the knife is almost at your neck, it will not be too late to accept my offer. Turn, and I will not let you die because of a moment's recklessness. I will go now to the goddess's temple with these arms and wait there until you come.
You are silent, but the tears keep falling. Mother, why these tears for me? I have reason enough with this ache in my heart. No more of that. Do not take my own courage from me. Will you do one thing for me? Speak. How could I fail you in anything, child? Do not cut off a lock of your hair as is done for the dead. Put on no mourning for me. What do you mean, child? I'm losing you. No, I am saved. My name will be your glory. I don't understand. I am not to mourn for you. No, I shall have no grave. What of that? It is not the grave we mourn, but the dead. The altar of the goddess, the daughter of Zeus, will be my grave. Tears are forbidden there. My daughter, what you say is true. I will obey you. For I am blessed by fortune. It was I who could bring help to Greece. And what shall I say to your sisters? Do not dress them in mourning either. Have you some message of love to send them? Say goodbye to them for me, and bring up Orestes to be a man for my sake. Put your arms around him, since you are looking at him for the last time. Dear child, you did what you could for those you love. Is there something I can do in Argos, something that would give you pleasure? Don't hate my father. He is your husband. He will not like the course he must face because of you. He destroyed me for the sake of Greece against his will. But he used lies, low schemes unworthy of Atreus. Who will lead me to the place so that they don't need to touch my hair? I will go with you. No, that would not be right. Holding on to your gown. Mother, listen to me. It is better for both of us if you stay here. One of my father's servants here can lead me to the meadow where I am to be killed. My child, you are going, and I shall never come back. Leaving your mother. As you see, not because I deserve it. Wait, do not leave. Now there must be no tears, and you, young woman, join in my hymn to Artemis the Virgin and celebrate my fate. Let silence descend on the army of the Argives. Let the basket be brought, light the fire of purification, bring the barley. Father must lead the procession around the altar. I am coming, bringing salvation from Greece and victory. Lead me. I, who will conquer Troy and bring down the city of Ilion, set the wreath on my head. Bring the purifying waters around the temple of Artemis, around the altar of the blessed Artemis. In honor of the goddess, I begin the dance. I will wash away with my own blood the spell that the oracle revealed.
O noble and revered mother, we may not shed our tears for you. The gods are not worshipped that way.
Young woman, sing with me now, glory to Artemis, the goddess whose temple faces Chalcis, where the ships wait, and the passion for war is burning, here in the narrows of Aulis, because of me. O Pelasgia, where I was born, Mycenae, home.
Are you invoking the city of Perseus, which the Cyclops built?
You brought me up to be the light of Greece. Dying, I can say it.
Your glory will not die.
O light that brings the day, splendor of Zeus, I am going from this world to another destiny, another home. Goodbye, light that I love.
See, she is going, she who will conquer Troy and bring down the city of Ilion. She leans her head for the victim's garland. For the sacred waters she goes to drench her with her blood the altar of the divine goddess. To the sword that will cut her lovely throat, your father is waiting with the pure libations, and the Achaeans are waiting to sail to Troy. But let us raise our voices to Artemis, daughter of Zeus, to ask for a happy destiny. Awesome goddess, pleased by the human sacrifice, send now to Phrygia, to the land of deceitful Troy, the armies of Greece. There let Agamemnon wreath the Achaeans' weapons with garlands of victory, and himself win a crown of unfading glory.
Daughter of Tyndareus, Clytemnestra, come out and hear my message.
I heard your voice. Here I am, distraught, shaking with terror for fear that you have brought some new disaster to add to the grief I have.
It is about your daughter. I have something miraculous to tell.
Tell me at once.
Beloved mistress, you shall hear everything as it happened from the beginning, until the seething of my mind confuses my words. When we had come to the grove sacred to the daughter of Zeus, and the flowered meadow of Artemis, leading your child to the place where the army was ordered to assemble, the Argives ran, all crowding to the spot. And King Agamemnon, when he saw his daughter coming through the grove to the place of sacrifice, groaned aloud and turned his head, hiding his eyes and their tears with his robe. But she came up to her father and said, Father, here I am, and I give my body willingly as a sacrifice for my country, for all of Greece. Lead me to the altar, if this is what destiny has decreed. For my part, I hope it turns out well for all of you. May the spoils of victory be yours, and then the sight of your homes again. Let none of the Argives lay hands on me. I will offer my neck in silence. I will not flinch. That is what she said, and everyone who heard marveled at the girl's bravery and nobility. Then the herald Talthybios, whose office it was, called out from among them to the army for the sacred silence. And the prophet Chalcis drew from its sheath the whetted knife and laid it in the basket worked with gold and set the crown upon her head. And Peleus' son took the basket and the lustral water and circled the altar, calling out, Daughter of Zeus, who bring death to the wild creatures, who turn your gleaming star through the darkness, accept this sacrifice offered to you by us, the army of the Achaeans, and King Agamemnon, this pure blood from the throat of a beautiful girl. Now let our war fleet embark on a smooth voyage, and our weapons bring down the walls of Troy. Then the sons of Atreus and the whole army stood with their eyes fixed on the ground, and the priest took up the knife, praying, and looked for the place to plunge it. Pain welled up in me at that, and I dropped my eyes. And the miracle happened. Everyone distinctly heard the sound of the knife striking, but no one could see the girl. She had vanished. The priest cried out, and the whole army echoed him, seeing that's what some god had sent, a thing nobody could have prophesied. There it was, we could see it, but we could scarcely believe it. A deer lay there, gasping, a large, beautiful animal, and its blood ran streaming over the altar of the goddess. Then Chalcis, with such joy as you can imagine, shouted, Commanders of the assembled armies of Greece, look! The goddess has placed this victim on her altar, a deer from the mountains, and she accepts this instead of the girl, rather than stain her altar with noble blood. With this she is happy, and now she blesses our voyage to attack Ilion. Therefore let everyone who is to sail take heart and go down to a ship, for today we must leave the hollow gulf of Aulis and cross the Aegean Sea. Then when Hephaestus' flame had left nothing of the victim but ashes, he offered the customary prayer for the army's safe return. Agamemnon sent me to say this, to tell you of this destiny which the gods have sent, and of the glory which he has won among the Greeks. I saw it myself. I was there. It is plain that your daughter has been taken up into heaven. Let this quiet your grief, and put an end to your anger against your husband. No man living can tell what the gods will do, but they save those whom they love. This same day has seen your daughter dead and brought to life again.
With what joy, for your sake, I hear the messenger's words, showing how the girl is alive in heaven with the gods.
O child, what deity has carried you off? How may I address you? How can I be sure? How can I know that this is not all a lie made up to silence my bitter grieving?
Here comes King Agamemnon. He will tell you the same.
Lady, as for your daughter, we have reason to be happy, for truly she has the gods for company. Now you must take this young calf here and travel home. The army is preparing to sail. Goodbye. My greetings will be slow in reaching you from Troy. May you be happy.
Son of Atreus, sail with a light heart to the land of Phrygia, and return with a light heart and heavy spoils from Troy.